Hey guys, so we're back with another episode of Taco Imposters. We'll do the stuff. We're doing 2011 today. Um, Japanese quake, Toshima major damage, Canadian tourism accesses Mexican police of rapping, rapping here. Accuses Mexican police of of raping here, ripping, rapping. Plane crashes, kills KHL team in hockey's darkest day. There was also what was it? Discovery's last launch. You know, NASA's Discovery rocket's last launch or Discovery shuttle. I mean, not too crazy stuff. It's okay. This is apparently the big song of that year. Starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch, and it's bringing me out the dark. Finally, I can see you crystal clear. Go ahead and sell me out, and I'll lay your ship bare. See, I'll leave with every piece of you. Don't underestimate the things that I will do. There's a fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch, and it's bringing me out the dark. The scars of your love remind me of us. They keep me thinking that we almost had it all. The scars of your love, they leave me breathless. I can't help feeling we could have had it all. Listening to deep. You have my heart and that was a song. I didn't want to do that. Oh, song of the of 2011, pop song of 2011. So apparently. Top movies 2011. Let's go. What are the top 50 movies of 2011? Whatever. Let me go to top movies. Okay, so look, it's right here. Oh. So it would have been The Help, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Moneyball, Source Code, War Horse, Captain America: The First Avenger, Thor, X-Men: First Class, Hugo, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Let's keep going a little bit more to see Pirates of the Caribbean, The Rise of the Planet of the Apes. There's so many Planet of the Apes movies. Okay, there was Planet of the Apes, then Planet of the Apes 2. Then there's like Return of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Revenge of the Planet of the Apes, Return of the Rise of the Revenge of the Planet of the Apes. It's stupid. There's so many damn Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, Pirates of the Caribbean, On Strangers Tide. I saw that movie. I think I did anyway. That's the one where they're in. They go to the Fountain of Youth. Yeah, that's okay. The thing. Take Me Home Tonight. Green Lantern. Oh, God. Green Lantern apparently was a really bad movie. Oh no. Green Hornet was a bad movie. Green Lantern was like meh. Sucker Punch. What else is there? Midnight in Paris. We Bought a Zoo. Oh, okay. I want to talk about the Tintin movie. That was a really good movie. Okay, the Tintin movie because it was a good like because it brought a lot of people into Tintin because a lot of people were just like Tintin. What the heck is that? That's a piece of garbage. I don't like Tintin. And like it's not a great movie. Let's be honest. I still watched it and I go, it's decent. It's good. I don't think it's the best, but like for for bringing Tintin back, I think it's like a phenomenal movie to get people to watch. Like to watch Tintin. There's so many people who are just like, watch Tintin. Cause I saw it for one of my friend's birthdays, and he was just like, wow. And I was like, yeah, good. And he was like, good. It was great. I was like, yeah, okay, if you say so. But yeah, it was very much a good way to bring Tintin back. See, that is doing Tintin. That is doing a series, right? Unlike the Alvin and the Chipmunks from like
2010, 2009, whatever, 8, and like the way they're doing what's it called? The way they're doing Sonic. No, see that's not how you do it. But I mean, hey, what are you gonna do, right? It kind of threw together a few of the books. Like it kind of was just one of those things where it's like, nah, this is a one-off thing. Because they did like hint at like, oh, there's more, and like people were like speculating, oh, is there more? Is there more things to do? Is there more this? More? It's like, meh, no, no, which is not bad, but it's just like it kind of gave that impression like, oh, we could do more, and there could be more adventures and more. Not really. Not that they can't still do one, but I don't know. That's a good movie, and then they had Deathly Hallows Part Two on that list. It was okay. I saw that movie in theaters. Part two, not part one. Part two. It was decent. I remember seeing it going, wow, that was great. And then years later, I saw it again and I went, yeah, it still holds up. And then I saw it, I think, a third time and I was like, okay, maybe it's not as great as I remember it. Because you know when you have those nostalgia goggles on, you're like, oh, it's amazing. It's the best thing you'll ever see. It's fantastic. And then you're like, and then like the next time you see it, sometimes it's like, yeah, oh, okay, maybe it's not as great. But yeah. Yeah, it's a fine movie. It's a good movie. Good way of ending the whole series, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but or a good, great movie. But it's okay. I was watching, okay, I don't know if you know Marcus Brownlee, MKBHD, right? And he does a series called, right, Retrotech, right? And he's talking about camcorders, right? Camcorder. And he's talking about the first VHS camcorder. And I don't know about if it is, because he's saying that the first VHS camcorder was VHS-C. And I'm like, sure there wasn't a bigger VHS, like a full VHS camcorder before this? And apparently from all my research I've looked up, there wasn't. So I'm not saying it's bad, like he's wrong, but I'm gonna find something saying there was this camera before. At this point, I'm just looking for anything esoterically like, oh, this thing was used by the whoever you could only buy it was $5,000 and it was crazy and whatever. But it's existed before that. But yeah, um, yeah. So uh, yeah. So see, I I was not around when VHS camcorders were around. Okay, that kind of stuff was around, which is fine. But I was not around. So I had, okay, as a kid, I had 8 millimeter cameras, and they were cool. I have to say they were cool, but they were too hard to figure. Cause like now, if you have 8 millimeter, you gotta find an 8 millimeter camera or an 8 millimeter player. But those things are expensive, and most of the time they're broken. So someone is always telling them like, "Oh, it's broken." I'm like, "Oh, of course." But nonetheless, you have to buy a VHS camcorder, and you have, or sorry, not a VHS camcorder. You have to buy a okay, all right. You have to buy a camera and a player, or a player. I'd rather have a player, but the camera, it's cool. I have a camera now. I paid way too much for it, but hey, well, I paid way too much, way more than I wanted to pay for it. But yeah, um, so I have that. So that's what we had. I had as a kid. So this is what my family had. We had that camera, the VHS, not VHS, 8 millimeter camera, and it was so good. Like we recorded everything. I'm telling you, from the age of like 2, 3 to like 10. No, like 8. 3 to like 8. There's like everything recorded. Like my life is recorded on those things. It's crazy. Nonetheless, it's a great thing because now I'm looking at it and going, wow, I have randomest stuff recorded. But yeah, it's good. But anyway, so you have that like um that. See, I would have loved a VHS camera as a kid. I think because that's the thing though. The thing would have been my dad would have bought like been convinced to buy a VHS-C camera like this one because this one's VHS-C. The first, it's the one from Back to the Future. It's called the G something. I'll figure it out. It's the JVC GRC1. JVC GRC1. It's the one from Back to the Future that Marty uses. But anyway, so that camera, right? My dad would have been convinced buy a VHS-C camera because somebody would have been like, oh well, because he would have like explained, well, I want the full benefits of a VHS right camera, right? And then it would have been like, okay, right? But they would have been like, okay, well, if you want the full benefits of VHS camera, but VHS cameras are too big, here, buy a VHS-C camera. Everyone would like, you're gonna love it. It's great. It's whatever. And then I would have been like, oh, that's so cool. But then like after shortest amount of time, I would be like, no, give me a full VHS camera. This is just stupid. This is too small. It's just stupid. Please, this is dumb. Because it would have been like, stop with the there was the fangled uh, adapters and this, that, and the other thing, and I would have been like, no, this is dumb. So, in my opinion, I would have just been like, no, this is stupid. As a kid, see, I know I would have said that, and then I would have been like, no, give me a VHS camera, and then my dad probably would have bought a VHS camera eventually. But that's the thing, we didn't have that, so we had we had 8 millimeter. So I believe I'm guessing it was Sony, but we can't remember what it was. It looked like every VHS camera, 8 millimeter camera from the time. So that's the thing. They all kind of look the same at that time. So really, and when I look for it, it's like, well, was it this one or that one or this? And they all look exactly the same. Some are a little more silver than others, but most were like, nope, nope. They're all pretty much the same. Whatever. It's okay. I'll find it one day. But yeah. See, look, I'm still using this camera right here. This camera right here is sitting on top of the same tripod that we bought probably like 20 years ago now. Maybe like 18, 17 years ago. I'm missing one piece, the little handle part that you like put the head up and down with. I know I have it somewhere. I know it's around here somewhere. Whether it's on this desk or it's on the shelves or it's under the desk. I have it somewhere, so I didn't lose it, but I misplaced it where. Anyway, but it's the same one, and it's the one that's been holding up the most. Cause I bought two on Amazon, right? And they're absolute garbage. It's these things right here. And so I wanted cameras that could hold this camera, right? This camera is at least 5 pounds. At least 5 pounds. At least it's got to be at least 5 pounds. So I got this. I'm like, oh, it won't work. But then I realized, well, it'll work for like phones and the smaller cameras. Like I have this one here. Ow, ow, ow! That hurt. But yeah, this one here, and this is a Panasonic, because that's a Panasonic DV DVC Pro HD P2. Well, it's really a AVX. Um, I don't know what it is, but anyway. And then this one is also Panasonic, and it's this one's mini DV. That one also is mini DV, but it runs on mini DV and a P2 card. It's HD, right? But only on the P2 card. I'm like, oh my god, oh my no. I'm like, no, please. But what are you gonna do? I was just like, fine, you know what? I don't care anymore. And then what came with this? Because I got this one for free. Because my mom, somebody at her work, said she had it or getting rid of it, and was like, yeah, look. So they got rid of it, and they're like, I don't know what to do with this. So we got rid of it. Anyway, this. Oh, that's up there. Oh, it's not. I don't know if you can do this. This right here, okay? You see that right there? I don't know if you can see it right there. There you go. That's 8 megabytes. That's the smallest SD card I've ever seen. That's crazy. Anyway, so that's where it came. Anyway, so yeah. So this camera, right? So it fits this camera. It'll work with that camera, but there's. But I was just hoping it was a better tripod. I thought it was a real tripod, to be honest. But anyway, it's not that bad. I bought two of them. I have them for whatever. They're good for phones and whatnot, so it's okay. They're useful. I use them to record the. I don't know if you saw the card review I did like a day ago, 2 days ago. Yeah, I bought it to use that. I bought it. Or sorry, they were. I used it for that video, so I put my phone this way. And, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, and then I bought another one, which is this one here, which is this one here. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, this is not good. This is not good. Good. Knock knock. Good good. That one right there. And that one is quality. That one is absolute quality. It's like solid. Everything is solid metal. It's crazy. It's like gonna last me the rest of my life. And I have on like a handle thing. If you can see right here, it's like a handle. See on the mic. Yeah, it's great. It's amazing. Oh, wrong way. It's a great. Um, it's a great. That's a great tripod too. It's not as good. I don't like it as much as this one. This one's Optex. That one's Image. I don't like it as much as this one, but hey. So yeah, and then so I have that one, and then I have another one. I have two that run on mini DV, and then I have two that or one that has an internal hard drive, one that has I think it's flash memory. Both can take SD card. Wow, one can take SD cards, and one can take their Pro Duo cards, like the stupid Sony, because it's Sony. This one right here. Ow. It's this one right here, and it's a Sony Handycam. I don't know if you can see that really well. Sony Handycam HD, AVC HD, something like that. Anyway, it can take their stupid Pro Duo cards. I have Pro Duo cards. Just I have a Pro Duo to SD adapter, so to micro SD adapter. So if I wanted to, I could do that. Use that. The other one is JVC. I don't know what it is. I'm not even gonna get up. And then the other one is also Panasonic, and it's Panasonic Mini DVD. Which to me, I'm just like, I was like, what? That's a thing? Yeah, apparently it is. I was like, whoa, okay, great. Yeah. So yeah. So those were the cameras I. What the heck up here? Those are the cameras I had as a kid, or had. There were a lot of random movies recorded, or random little video things recorded on that JVC one, because I'm looking at it right there on my shelf. Oh god, so many random like movies and like random, not even movies, they're like weird clips of things. Oh, I gotta take them off that thing and put them somewhere. But yeah, um, yeah, cause I did it with my friend and oh, we have like random stuff. I don't know, it was crazy, but no, like they're great for memories though. Oh, yeah. But anyway, and then I moved on to a 3DS. After that camera, I moved on to a 3DS, and there are a lot, and they're on SD cards now, scattered everywhere. But like I found a few of them, and oh, they were also a little bit like whoa. And okay, you know what I used the 3DS for a lot? You know what I used the 3DS for quite a bit? I used it for um stop motion because it had a built-in stop motion camera, right? See, it wasn't like compile like it was just it wasn't like a picture compiling. It was like an actual like, oh, now we're gonna actually make you a stop motion like movie. It's gonna be a real stop like, and it wasn't real, but it was way better than just picture, and then just having to like show it all, you know, in succession. Because that would have driven me absolutely nuts. I would have been like, no, 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 I can't do this. So it had that, and it was great. That's the one that's the one thing I use that thing consistently for. Because the camera I never used really. I was not like my brother where I would take pictures with the camera. I was like, oh, I need to take pictures now. It's great. But I need to take a picture. It's great. And then, no. I mean, when I had it on me and it was something I wanted to take a picture, and I was like, oh, I have it on me all the time. It's great. Now I can take up. I took a picture, but I didn't like stop and go, okay, take it. Okay, great. No, I didn't care. That's the thing. I did not give a hoot. Yeah, and that thing's probably still a decent camera for stop motion. I'm sure. Probably. I think it had a weird file format, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure I can convert it, but it had a weird file format, I'm sure. You know? Not a bad file format, but just like a oh, couldn't you just be MP4? Or could you just be whatever? Because that's the thing. The JVC one over there, I can record onto SD card, but it makes it into a stupid file format. It's like why? why? It takes it into a file format that my editing software cannot handle. I use KindMaster Pro, right? And KindMaster, okay, won't take it. I'm like, but you freaking suck. What the heck? Anyway, yeah. So for my movie that I'm going to plan on making, I'm planning on using this camera here, the DVC Pro HD2 or the I know it's AVX 2000, 1300, something like that. Anyway, um, yeah, right. I plan on using this camera with a P2 card, so I get it HD, and then I plan on using VHS-C camera. So I got a VHS-C camera recently, like about I want to say about a year ago. I want to say about a year ago now. No, maybe like February. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe like February. But like February, and it's not the greatest. It doesn't record in stereo. It doesn't have a viewfinder. It's not the greatest. You have to look into the. Or it doesn't have a screen. LCD screen as a viewfinder. Just like, oh, it's bad. Anyway, but I'm gonna record on that. I'm gonna record on that mini DV. I'm gonna record on that HD. Oh, sorry, yeah, mini DVD, and I'm maybe record on either this one or the JVC. I'm not sure yet. Maybe. I'm not sure yet. But I know for a fact that it's going to be my phone. It's going to be my phone. That has to be. The finished product is going to be the phone. It's going to be the phone one, yeah. And the uh, DVC, the Panasonic DVC Pro HD. So, yes. Yeah. So those two are the ones that are like, yeah, it has to. So I'm looking for a tripod. So I have two tripods, but I just realized that on the top of this camera that I'm recording, the one I'm recording now, it has another slot, so I can put, if I take a tripod screw, I could it, screw this handle thing from the other tripod onto the top of that, and then take the phone and plug one of those phone clips. This one, these kind. I mean, this is crap, but this is garbage. But the one I had, my brother lost because I gave it to him because he wanted to do time lapse and he lost it. Oh well. So I have the piece here. It broke off, and then lost. I'm sure he threw it away. He's like, "Oh, it broke, so I gotta throw it away now." Because I super glued a one of those shoe mounts onto the top of it, and it was like, I was like, oh, no, from one of the other cameras. I'm like, no, stupid, don't lose it. But anyway, I think I said, don't lose it or break it. I think I said to him. Oh well, or maybe I said, don't break it. Anyway, it's okay. But yeah, um, yeah. So yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I'll do that because I can put like the thing here on the top and then have it jut out and then have the phone on top of that. It's gonna be a little too high, but I could. No, I can't. I was gonna say I could aim it down, but can't really do that. I didn't think of that. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. That'll be one. That's it. That'll be one. So if that's one tripod, then I need at least two more tripods. So I have two other tripods. I have this one, and I have the other one, like the big one. So that could work. It depends, but it could work. I think. I think it might work. Not 100% sure, but I think it'll work. Yeah. So that's for the movie, and then I have like all I mic. So I have the mic I'm using now, which I don't think I'll use for the movie. It's it's a newer NW 700. So um, it's a good mic for this for recording this, but I'm not sure if it's great for a movie. Like because it's look, see, it's this, so it's not gonna pick up this way. Then I have this mic, which I'm planning on using for the Rode video micro. I'm planning on using it for the phone, and then I have this mic, which I could use on the camera, but I don't want to. Oh, I could fashion something for that. That could cool. Anyway, this one, right, which is like it's like a really cheap like unidirectional mic. Oh, not omnidirectional, it's unidirectional. Dang it. It's like it's very, whoopsies, like straight on, which is okay. But I'd want one that like could do like omnidirectional, but it might work. I'm not sure, but because I have an adapter here, because it has it has um headphone jack or barrel jack, right? And I have an adapter here, right, right here, which adapts to what's that called? Aux. No, what's that called? Whatever the thing's called. It's called no microphone jack. Whatever it's called. You know this. This, whatever it's called. So yeah. Um, I don't think I'll use this. I don't think so, but maybe because this camera already records it all in what is it called? All in stereo anyway. This camera records in stereo, and so does the other Panasonic mini DV camera. That's what I wanted. I wanted stereo. Cause my VHS-C, no stereo, no, it's mono. I'm like, which is not horrible. I could take it and make it left and right channel. It's left and right channel mono though, which I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be fine. But anyway, yeah. So that's that. And those are cameras. That was my childhood of cameras and things I used. I had a feature mini 8 millimeter camera, and I had that for the longest time. And then I had that uh JVC camera with a mini I think it's like a 2.5 inch or 1.5 inch. No, 2.5 inch. It's got to be or 2 inch what's it called? Hard drive, and then I got this one, the Sony, which I think is flash memory. I'm not 100% sure. It could have a 1.5 inch. I don't think so because because of the shape. I don't think so. Anyway, yeah. And then for the movie, I'm going to use this one probably, and my phone. I know that for a fact for my phone. And I want to use that mini DV camera, the one down there, and the mini DVD. So that like somebody can come to me, or I can tell someone like, hey, well, how you want to watch it? You want to watch it off of mini DVD. Oh, and VHSC, SD card, flash, whatever, whatever. You want to watch the actual movie? Mini DVD, VHSC, full VHS. What do you want? Because that's the thing too. I'm gonna convert the VHSC to full VHS. Yeah, because I have a few blank full VHS, like four, something like that. Cause I found them at Village Valley Village. I was like, oh yes, a bag of four unopened. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Yes, I need it because I'm not dealing with mini or with VHSE because it's just dumb. It's like, I don't know. That's why I would have said if I had that as a kid, it would have driven me absolutely bonkers because I would have been like, now what? And I can't actually physically look at it now, and it's just dumb. That's the thing. Yeah, but I also probably would have had a better camera than the VHS-C that I have. I probably would have had one with at least a viewfinder, I'm sure. No, because I would have been like, no, I cannot do this. I will not. So, at least that's what I think. So yeah, that's the thing. Because basically, if you want to know the history of camcorders, basically, uh, or if you want to know okay, brief history on formats. You had Umatic, which was some weird. I think Umatic just turned into Beta. Not 100% sure. Then you got. I don't even know if that was Sony, but then you have Sony's Betamax, which came up before VHS, or I think it's slightly before VHS, and then VHS came out. And basically, Beta, because with cameras, Beta was like, look, we got VHS beat with our size. They were like half the size, and they were like half the size, and people were just like, well, yeah, it's better. It was a it was an inferior camera, but it was a better thing. It was like, oh yeah, yeah. Then VHS was like, okay, sure, we'll throw back with um, VHSC. They came with VHSC, and it basically just like screwed all of the what's it called up all of the beta out of Sony. Blah, all of Sony's beta out the window. All they're like, oh, it's better, it's smaller, it's whatever, you can whatever, whatever, whatever. No, we're like, yeah, we fixed your problem. We have small VHS. Done. It's like, oh. And they were like, oh, oh. So that's pretty much what happened there. And then, from what I've gathered, VHS came out after VHSC cameras. I'm like, which I don't get. I'm like, what? Whatever. But anyway, yeah, and people were using that for the longest time because it was just like it was the whole thing of like yeah, it was the convenience of. I mean, even though it was about the size of like a small dog, it was a shoulder mounted thing that you'd have to be like this and be like when you look through the viewfinder, you'd be like and it was loud and it was a little bit cumbersome to use, but it was like once you were done, you could literally because that right there, where is it? Right there is is a TV with a VCR built in. So somebody could just pop it into their VCR and be like, boom, done. Event, movie, whatever is playable now. Which I think Beta could do that too, to an extent, because the first Beta camera, which is called Beta Movie, I think it was called, was not great because it did some weird formatting thing to get it to play. I don't know. It was bizarre. If you want to watch it, you go technology technology connection, tech connection, technology connection, something I think it's called. Channel on YouTube. Look that up, and you'll see the Beta Movie. Technology connection. Is that a channel name? Yeah, Technology Connections. Okay, that's a YouTube channel. And look up Beta Movie if you want to know about that camera. But yeah, and then they came out with 8 millimeter, and people were just like, "Oh, this is even smaller." Like they're 8 millimeter tapes, and it was like, "This is even smaller." And it probably got a lot of people right with that whole like, "It's smaller, it's better because it's smaller." It's not because then you had to have all these like weird things, like players and like you couldn't just slap it in a VCR. That's the thing. See, and then VHC came along, okay, smaller, whatever, and they were like, yeah, and you could just put it into an adapter, and it was great. Probably convinced a lot of people to buy VHS-C over VHS because they would have been like, because the selling points would have been like, yeah, yeah, you want the convenience of a VHS tape, right? But you want it to be smaller than a VHS tape, so you want it to be more convenient, right? So you're just like, oh, okay. Somebody's like, oh, okay, like Bing Bang Boom. It, they were like best of both worlds, and I'm sure a lot of people are still like, oh, that's annoying. It's still annoying. Anyway, um, yeah, and then as a 8 millimeter came around, and I was like, oh, okay, great, and probably convinced a lot of people there too with their whole like, what's the whole like, it's smaller, it's even smaller, it's even better, which it wasn't. Again, it wasn't. It wasn't better. You had stupid things you had to use, and like you got on cameras and whatever. I don't know. It wasn't great in my opinion. And then you had high eight, which were digital question mark, but they could record analog if you just put it into a regular 8 millimeter camera. And then you had digital 8, which were digital. I think digital 8 you couldn't record analog. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. And then mini DV came along. Ooh, that hurts. See, look, I'll show you. mini DV was see mini DV was this big, right? This is a mini DV tape, right? Or upside down. And it's I don't know, good, I guess. But like, and then a VHS C is about this big, and then an 8 millimeter is about the size of a VHS C but thinner. It's like this thin, but maybe 20% bigger, 15% bigger, something like that. Yeah. Yeah. And with mini DV, they were digital. They weren't HD, but they were digital. It was digital, so you weren't analog the whole thing and worrying about I don't know analog. I don't know. Well, because with mini DV cameras, you could go directly to a computer. Like, see, this has I don't know if you can see it. Oh, you can't. Oh, you can, kind of. So this right here is FireWire, and that up there is micro USB. No, mini USB. Sorry, mini USB. Mini USB. And so with the FireWire, if you had a FireWire cable on your computer, you could just go directly straight through, straight into the computer, and that was it. Bam, done. You didn't have to worry about like how do I get this onto a computer and I gotta use because what I'm using for its camera right now is this thing. It's a VidBox, right? And it's okay. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. It's just it's a little bit like I don't like it because it doesn't use what's it called? It drives me nuts because it doesn't use Well, no, because you need the CD, and you don't even need the CD. You just need the stupid product key on the CD to get their suite working because there's no sound. So anyway, that's why I have this mic. I'd be using direct sound right now if the stupid sound worked. It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, and then I bought a new one. I bought this thing. It's like an easy capture thing. It's like a ripoff of an easy cam, easy capture thing. They're great. They work. It works really well. It's just again no sound, at least not with the suite that it came with. Because the suite that it came with was set up for converting DVDs, and so if you're not converting DVD, and it doesn't even do that well. It's like garbage at that. But if you want to convert DVDs, I guess it could do like I don't know if to get it. I don't know, but this can take a lot of different formats. So at least or a lot of different software. So at least I could like try a whole bunch of softwares. But anyway, um, oh I didn't think of that one. Maybe yeah. So I'm gonna have to take the three um well because I want to get a computer with a what's it called with a mini no sorry with a FireWire port on it so I could convert like take the video directly from that one and then for the other two I have to take which is the VHC and the DVD mini DVD I have to convert them this way through capture device. I also just think now just buy a really good capture device. Like if you ever watch the 8-bit guy, he has like a really nice capture device, like a brilliant capture device. Like it's so nice. It's his blue one that splits Y. Like oh, it's great. Anyway, and it's I think it's USB. But anyway, it's amazing. But anyway, I want to figure out what that is. But yeah, yeah. So that's what I have to do with that. It's not exactly gonna be easy. I know that. And it's gonna be hard, but I'm doing that. It's my movie. I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do for my movie. So yeah, it'll. I know for a fact it'll be this camera and my phone. That's it. I know that for a fact. And then know it's gonna be VHS-C, but that's about it. Cause I don't know. I don't know for a fact I'm gonna use the other cameras. Cause I need at least one more tripod. Cause if I want the mini DV is one. The mini DVD and the VHS-C, I'll need at least one more, I think. which won't be too bad. People sell them online for like nothing. They're selling them for like $10, $12, $30. It's between $10 and $100 depending on where you go and look or what you look for. So yeah, yeah. So yeah. So that's what I'm gonna do some movie. I think. So yeah, that's the thing. So that came out. So yeah, and so there was a war at one point for between VHS and Beta, but VHS was just no VHS. What won VHS completely? I'm not 100% sure what won, why VHS won in the end. It's very vague as to why they won because people say that there wasn't enough porn on VHS, but I know that's a whole hooky balooey. Apparently it's hooky hooey myths and all that, but because Beta was subjectively better, right? Subjectively better, but I think it was the they made them more readily available. I mean, they made way more movies on VHS, so people were just like, so why would I go with Beta ever? So so yeah, so that was the thing. I think it was just they were just more available. Supply and demand was better on VHS. So people were just like, no, I'm never. Why would I use Betamax? No, of course I'm not gonna use Beta. No, it's stupid. And so I think that's why they won. Because it was just like, no, that's just dumb. Yeah. So yeah. There were a lot of, and then there's stuff like Laserdisc in between that, or after that, actually, way after all those. Came out in like the late 90s. I've talked about Laserdisc before, so go back and watch that episode. But it was also subjectively better. It looked better. It it had perfect frame for frame stopping because it was like a digital format. It was like a digital record, if that makes any sense. But it still wasn't 100% digital. I don't know. It's hard. I don't know much about it. But yeah, it looked like a record, basically like a silver record, and you put it in there. And then there's something called CEDs, which is capacitive did no, CEDs capacitant electronic disc. And basically what that was literally like electrical pulses. It was like a record, right? So it had a needle, same as a record, and it would go around like do 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 do, right? But it would be electrical pulses, which is very bizarre that one. But these are formats that we used or they had. And so yeah, I just thought of imagine having a laser disc. Because that's the thing, there were never any recordable laser discs, at least not to my knowledge. There might have been somewhere out there in the ethos, but I don't think for a consumer, like a home consumer, no, there weren't. I don't think there were any. But imagine that it would because it's basically about that big. So just imagine like that big camcorder, just like boom, on the side like that. Basically, you'd have to have something like this thick and like this big and like flop. Oh, it'd be crazy. That would have been insane. I want to see that one day. I want to see somebody make that one day. That would be insane. Yeah, so it would be insane. Yeah, that would be absolutely crazy. Um, yeah, so or like CED recorders. No, I don't think that would work the same way. No, maybe you could do that. I don't know, but yeah. So yeah, that's what the cameras were. I think I would have liked a full VHS camera as a kid because I would have been like, "This is great." I think I also would have used and appreciated a VHS-C camera. It's just that I think I would have it would have driven me a little bit crazy. I would have been like, can I just have a full VHS camera, please? Because if you ever watch Cinemassacre, and if you watch James Rolfe's he did a 200 video, right, 200 special, and he explains the whole like history of him making movies, and he basically explains like, yeah, I had a VHS-C camera, right? But it just drove me nuts because like just give me a full VHS camera, and they eventually just bought a VHS. His family eventually just bought a VHS, like a full VHS camera, because he pretty much convinced them. Yeah, look, it just makes more sense. You just plop it right into something like this, right? Like a real just blah blah done. You don't have to have an adapter and or whatever. Which isn't the worst thing. It's not that crazy. It's just it's a little. I don't know. It's a little. If you don't, I don't like it. But yeah. So also, if you go to early YouTube, you'd be surprised how many people were recording on like. Well, because this kind of thing was around, right? But it wasn't like cheap necessarily at the time. For that small camera, for the JVC one there, I paid. I think my dad paid like probably $1,000 for that camera. Probably maybe like $800, between five and 1,000, somewhere around this. Like maybe like $800, something like that. It was not cheap, but we recorded a lot, so we got. I feel like we got our money's worth out of it. But yeah, yeah, money's worth out of it. But they weren't cheap. So like if you go to early YouTube, like so if you go to someone like LGR, right, Lazy Game Reviews, he originally used a VHS camera, VHS-C camera that he would just convert, right, to he just converted to digital. You know, he had a capture device because yeah, and you can tell because the light is saturated, like the lighting. That's the thing that a lot of those cameras never picked up very well. Lighting. Those old like analog cameras, tape cameras, they just didn't pick up lighting at all very well at all. They didn't pick it up very well at all. It wasn't like they don't do a horrible job. They just don't pick it up very well. So unless you have like blasting lights everywhere or natural sunlight, it picked that up like phenomenally. Like for some reason it picked it up super well. Oh, yeah, yeah. So it picked that up like redonkulously well for some reason. Like I was just like, yeah, picked up natural lighting very well. Like this camera is prosumer, so it's pro consumer, so it's high up in like it's like the amateur like mid range camera. It's not we're not at the point of like news cameras and like where it's got every bell and whistle on it, and it's we're not down at like the consumer level, like this stuff, the Sony one or the JVC one or even that Panasonic down there. We're in the middle, so it's got lots of bells and whistles. So if you look at it, it's got like a bunch of like things. So you can do all those stuff like you can do your own like manual white balance, and you can um, manual focus and manual color balance and white balance, gain, zoom, focus. It's got focus. Oh, it's great. It's so cool. And then see it's stereo, so it's nice. And it's got a nice mic on top too. It's really nice. Yeah, it's a really good camera, I have to say. The only thing is I don't like how it doesn't record HD on. It only records HD on P2 cards, because P2 cards are stupid expensive, because they made them for like a certain amount of time, and they just like they don't make them anymore, and they're just dumb. Why? But anyway, it's okay. It's fine. It's Panasonic. See, we're not at like um. See, it's not at what's it called, like red levels or black magic. I want to get a black magic, the simple like that, the one that looks like a camcorder, the one that looks like a DSLR, but it's not. That one. I want to get that one day, maybe. Honestly, I want to one day get a friggin' red. Is it called red hydrogen? I think maybe that one's called. Anyway, The big box camera, the thing. Oh, that thing's or the magic camera that looks boxy too. That thing, those things are like, but those things are like $45,000. So forget that. No, thank you. But anyway, I think that'll be it for now, guys. So adios, mi amigos.